Got some bad news for you. You're fucking done, son. It's over. Please hit the gym. Please hit the gym, and the pH needs to be balanced as well.
I've been drinking. Can't keep your eyes up right now.
What's up? Because recently I did Jubilee. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with Jubilee. If you're not, you can head over and you can watch this. It's painful to listen to. And I decided to be surrounded by 20 feminists. And truly, I'm always interested in wanting to learn and wanting to grow. And I went there total good faith because I want women to kind of avoid some of the traps. It's kind of one of those things like when people are older than you and they try to pass on some wisdom, but when you're young, you like are so sure of yourself. Like, what do you know? Older person with children. I'm 18 and my life is, I feel like I'm going to live forever. And I'm not kidding when I say that. I'm not even sure that my claims were even controversial, but it was stunning to hear them debate these claims and say that it was like the scientific evidence was in and they were right, because some of these things are just common sense. So my first claim was that the sexual revolution, so women getting naked all the time on your screen, has devalued women just being naked, and has also made them in the process less happy, because who wants to be naked to be heard?
Now, if y'all don't know what's going to happen here, like Candace said, she went on to Jubilee and spoke with 20 feminists. I want to let y'all hear two of them that she spoke with. She actually spoke with Princella, the Queen Maker. I don't know if y'all, anybody who's been around a while know who Princella is, right? Princella was hating men. Then she went on the side of now she hates women. Now she's back to hating men again. Princella debated her on the patriarchy and things of that nature. However, again, Princella seems to hate men now, but she tries so hard to be a man, which that doesn't make any sense. But let's get back to this. The two women that Candace talked to, you're going to hear, one was debating that women now in 2025 who works spends more time with their kids than the women of the 1950s who didn't work. Make that make sense, right? So that was one of the women that Candace spoke with. And the other woman was one who was, I'm trying to think what she was talking about, but I can't remember right off the bat, but you're going to hear it, man. Like I said, all of it's crazy. It's like they're just arguing just to be arguing. Feminism has gotten to their heads, and yeah, it's ridiculous. So let's go ahead and get into it, all right? And if you haven't, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, share. It helps the channel grow. And yeah, let's do it.
And take a listen to what this young woman, Nikki, said about women being objectified.
So when we're talking about the value of women on a societal scale and how we view each other, right? When you're devaluing us, you're objectifying us. And follow me, I promise. But rape rates have gone down by about half in the last 20 years, right? So if you're saying we're less valuable now, why wouldn't we be suffering at a higher rate?
So is the argument that you're making, just so I understand, that because women are giving up sex for free, they're not being raped?
Every study shows rape is not correlated with just sexual gratification. It is a power structure.
Okay.
So it is about objectifying and abusing women when you rape them, not about whether or not you want sex. What I am saying is that women are less objectified so therefore we are being raped less.
Okay, so you think that in today's society, because this is pretty wild for me. In the 1950s, you're saying women were more objectified than today in the land of OnlyFans, the Kardashian clan, and women that are essentially putting up their boobs and butts for free on Instagram. You're saying we finally have achieved less objectification, where women can't even get onto an advertising. You can't even advertise a bag without them having to be naked in order for them to get a career as a model. You're saying, oh great, we've achieved actually less objectification.
Now you hear that? This is what feminism does to the minds of these young women, right? So, like Candace was saying, now with everything that you have, you know what I'm saying, with the OnlyFans, the Instagram, where women just openly show themselves, you know what I mean? It's stupid. What this young lady saying is stupid. So it's like, back in the 50s, women were more modest. You know what I'm saying? They didn't wear revealing clothes like they do now. But all of a sudden, now in 2025, they are less objectified. This shit is ridiculous. But let's go ahead and finish up.
So I'm not trying to suggest that I think that the over-commodification of women's bodies is positive. But what I am saying is that when you're going to the 1950s, that we shouldn't put this glazed look of, oh, it was so happy, we had single income households and we got to stay home. We also had a pill popping problem. We also were viewed as maids. Like, we were seen as a house appliance far more than we were as people. And so when you have that kind of objectification where you are in a subservient position.
And you have to think about, these women are talking like they were actually in the 1950s, right? The way they talk is like they lived that actual experience.
I think we're facing a different form today, but I think that rape is a signifier of a contradiction to your statement.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It doesn't make sense, but I do want to rebut it on a couple of
Not
points.
at
So
all.
first, I just want to say, suggesting that objectification has gone downward since the 1950s is wild. That's just a firm no. That is not the truth, and you know that's not true.
Wait, so do you feel like
hold on, let
women were
me
seen as
answer your
like-
second thing.
Okay.
Second thing, you then brought up, okay, women were at home, but they were pill popping. Well, you then have to acknowledge we're actually popping more pills now, right? So we have actually increased our amount of pill popping. Women are having overdoses on opioids. And on top of that, since I think 1999, by rate, we are increasing our opioid use compared to men. So women are not popping pills less because we're going into the workforce. That's actually not true at all either.
That's good.
We're also, like I said to you, consuming alcohol more and binge drinking more than we did in the 1950s.
It is just amazing that I wanted to really show that clip because I think her heart's in the right place. I think she's probably a very nice young woman, but it is just stunning to me that women can enter into a classroom. And by the way, I want to count myself among that because I was young and definitely identified as a feminist. Like, I wasn't attending any marches, but if you would just come up to me and say, like, are you a feminist? I would have said yes, because I learned it. Like, I learned in a book, like, these women are offended by the phrase, make him a sandwich. They were not alive in the 50s, but they are certain that all women in the 50s were popping pills and were unhappy because they read a study. And it's incredible that there can be studies that convince people not to believe their own eyes. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm speaking about when I'm referring to this sort of cult of science, something that C.S. Lewis referred to as scientism, where they can just create a study, say that we're the experts, and suddenly you've got people that are walking 6 feet social distancing, letting their grandmas die alone, and they're triple masked because and double vaxxed because they read it somewhere in a journal that, you know, if you see your friend, you're gonna die. Like, it's like Final Destination. A bus is just gonna come hit you and you're gonna knock sideways. That's kind of a scary thing to process, that I don't care what she read. I don't care what book she was in. I don't care who signed off on it, whether it was, you know, Dr. Fauci or her boyfriend. You just need to open your eyes. And of course, women are more objectified today. Like, did you have a grandmother? Everyone has a grandmother. Do you feel your grandmother was more objectified, a different type of objectification? No. Do you think, and by the way, and maybe I'm reading myself into it, my grandma was super happy. I don't think women are more happy today than my grandmother was. That's what I would just say off the bat. But the whole idea of this cult of science is to make us not believe our own eyes. Okay. So my next claim was no career. And this should not even be controversial. guys. Like, this should not be even slightly controversial. My next
But
claim
guess
was
what?
no career will give women as much joy and fulfillment as raising their children. Now, I want to be clear, guys. That's not even controversial if I was in a room surrounded by 50 men, right? 20 men. If I said, oh, your career is not going to fulfill you as much as your children, they'd probably go like, yeah, common sense.
Yeah.
Not this room. Oh my, what is this? This is the Handmaid's Tale. This is.
It's like having kids to these feminists is like the wrong thing to do. It's like, how dare you say that? Like, how dare you say having a child is more fulfilling than me being a boss? You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Candace just wants us to be at home. How dare you say that children can provide joy? That's just not. There are careers that will give you more joy than a child, than family. And I want to tee up this next clip by letting you know, I didn't mention this to her face because if an idea works, you should not ever have to attack a person personally, right? But this is interesting now as we reflect on this, to tee this up, that this next young woman named Jasmine, for a living, she sells her body, okay? She has an OnlyFans. She also has something called a ManyVids profile. If you are a man, you can pay for Jasmine to make custom videos for you. She's on Pornhub. And again, I am only saying this because she is about to seriously make an argument, and she's angry. She's angry about this, that as a woman with a quote unquote career selling her body, her eventual children, according to the statistics, are going to fare off better because, like, I don't know, she'll have money. And that's kind of the point. Money equates to happiness. Take a listen.
You say that women are more fulfilled at home with kids than going out into the workforce or getting educated, but that just really doesn't bear out when you look at the stats, when you look at how working mothers are way less likely to be in poverty. Maternal education is the #1 predictor of childhood outcomes, better scores, getting higher incomes in the future, fewer behavioral problems, better mental health. So it's weird to me and college-educated women are least likely to get divorced, and they're the only women, the top 10% of women are the only women whose marriage rates are going up. So they're getting married, they're staying married, and their kids are doing better. When you look at stay-at-home mothers, you see that they're more likely to report being depressed, they're more likely to report having anxiety and anger and all these types of things. So how can you say that? Seems like a woman, if you want to get married and have kids, you should go to college and have a career.
So it sounds to me like we are looking at totally different statistics because everything that you said, I've actually read the exact opposite.
I'm glad we're on a fact check show with you.
Right, exactly.
Oh, it's so exciting.
That's going to be amazing. Okay, because I know, like I said, I think what we're talking about is that there was this widespread report on female happiness, and I know that it was formally debunked, and it was.
That's not what I'm talking about. Pew Research,
Right.
University of California. In fact, working mothers today spend more time with their children than women did in the 1960s that were at home.
Okay. Again, just hear what she said. She said, working mothers today spend more time with their children than women who were stay-at-homes did back in the day. That is, and I am sorry, and I'm going to try to be polite here, as polite as I can, that is astoundingly stupid. That is okay, a stay-at-home mom was spending less time with her children than working mom. What are you saying? What were they doing? What were they doing at home? If they weren't taking care of their kids, and you're telling me that they were impoverished, you just in one breath said they're less likely, your kids are more likely to be impoverished if your mom doesn't have a job, okay? And now you're telling me that back when moms were at home, they were spending less time with their kids. So who was watching these children?
Right. Like the women all out in the backyard drinking lemonade and iced tea, but who's watching the kids since they don't have enough money to pay for babysitters for them to do that, right? So yeah, what's going on there? How is that happening? It doesn't make any sense.
That's what I mean when I say at a certain point, you got to remove yourself from the social science and look around and go, is what I just said, did that make any sense? Right? What were they doing? Just frolicking in the backyard while no one was watching? Were the kids raising themselves? And in the 50s, the women were just running around in the backyard, gardening. I don't know what her idea is here, but this is the point. We have women that are so angry today. They are angry at the idea that aspiring to family could make them happy. And they are convinced that they feel this way out of their own authority, right?
That's crazy. Yeah, this feminism has done a work on society and women. It's crazy how these women can think that they are better off now You know what I mean? As far as, being fulfilled and not being depressed. They think they're better off now, you know what I mean, than back in the 1950s when women, really didn't have that much responsibility, right? Of course, there was, they did drink and take drugs and stuff, but it's way worse now than what it was back then. Back then, it was just, every now and then you would see a case or whatever. Now it's common. A lot of these women are, you see it on the streets. You see it in videos. These women are at the clubs drinking. There's always some drinking and drugs involved. The way they act on the street, just when they get upset at the person behind the counter at a fast food place for not having what they want. You know what I mean? It's these women are out there now, but these feminists making you think that they are more happier, but it's clearly not the case. But you guys, drop some comments down below and let me know what y'all think. Like I said, if you haven't gone over to Jubilee, I'll drop the link in the description and you can watch the whole thing where she talked to many more women. And also she did talk to, like I said, what's her name? Princella, the Queen Maker. Yeah, if you want to see that, go over there and take a look at it. All right, you guys, please like, subscribe, share. It helps the channel grow. And you guys, be good to yourselves. By all means, let's be good to one another. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.
Bucket naked.
Got some bad news for you. You're fucking done, son. It's over. Please hit the gym. Please hit the gym, and the pH needs to be balanced as well.
I've been drinking. Can't keep your eye